So I'm sitting here with Felix Harper and looking at his launch from Lake Station on the winch. And Felix is a Youthglide member of the Nelson Lakes Gliding Club, and this is during the annual camp that Nelson Lakes hold. So here, you tell me about your flight so far, Felix.
So it was a decent launch, and I went straight across to Errol's Knob, and fortunately I was lucky enough to get a thermal straight away. I could see there were just cumulus starting to pop off quite faint on top of the ridge, so I thought now was time to go at the front of the grid, which was a bit daunting with all the competition pilots.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All the experienced pilots behind me, but yeah, I worked all right. I tracked up sort of towards the head of the Maggie Ridge where I am now. A few good climbs. Just trying to get as high as I could before hopping across onto Mount Robert, where I thought the northern face, given the northeasterly wind, would be working quite well.
Yeah.
But tracking across, and as I arrive at Mount Robert, it's not really working at all. It's quite dead. So I've got the altitude, so I figure I'll keep going across to the St Arnaud range.
Yeah.
And arriving at the St Arnaud range, Parachute Rocks.
About 5,000 feet.
Yeah, about 5,000 feet or so. Yeah. No luck there. So track back across St Arnaud to the teetotal area, what we call the poo ponds, where there was a nice line of sort of quite raggedy cumulus forming between Mount Cedric and Beebe's Knob, sort of north-south in a line, and then I got quite a good climb here and climbed to 6,500 feet or so, just about towards the cloud base of the convergence. You'll have to excuse the apparent aerobatics here. My GPS logger, I'm running on GPS logs here, so no pressure altitude to back that up. So I figured I'd try the Robert Ridge again, just after it's had a bit more sun on it, and don't really have much success. That was a bit of an abortive little pull up there.
So you're running XC SAW, giving you, distance land outs and so on.
That's right, yeah. Moving map display.
And it probably gives you a bit of wind reading based on orbiting thermals, does it?
That's right, yeah. So yeah, again, down towards Angeles just before, that wasn't working so well. So back up into this sort of known convergence at the head of the Maggie. This is where I saw Frank just about at cloud base, and I figured I'd join underneath him where it was working quite well.
Oh, yes.
Got as high as I can, and then I trekked north again just to see what it was like back towards the teetotal area, and a bit soft. Not especially overwhelming, so back south again.
Meanwhile, Frank had gone north and on a convergence up the Speargrass, which is a pretty classic convergence, was marked out as a cloud up here. You're now heading back.
That's right, heading for Mount Cedric here.
And you run into me again, I think.
Yeah, this is about the southern end of the north-south line of clouds. And there was quite a nice cumulus on top of there at that point. And Frank was there as well, so I figured it must be working.
I was there because I'd run south on the Travis Range and fallen off and come back to top up and meet you again. But despite my failure, you take a better height than I did, and on top of the range, you made it work in the way that I didn't.
Yeah, somehow, even though I was on the the western side, which was interesting because at this point between Hopeless and Cupola, there was a convergence with clouds that would indicate it was working a lot better on the eastern side, which I do go for here, and it's all right. There are wee bumps and things, but nothing too stellar. So I try south again, nothing especially good there, and then across on the Mahunga Range where I'm heading now, there's good clouds forming right on top of the mountains. So I thought I'll try my luck here, and pretty much after here I was away. I think I got a decent climb here, took that to nearly cloud base or so. What am I, 7,000 feet now?
So you flew with me back in that thermal, and then you've been on your own ever since, and the rest of the flight you haven't got gliders ahead of you.
Pretty much.
Pioneering the whole day, aren't you?
Pretty much. I'm blazing my own trail here.
Even though there's quite a bit of chatter of other pilots in other places doing stuff.
Yeah, I can hear other pilots talking about how they're on the Raglans and the head of the St Arnauds, but I'm blazing my own trail here, so to speak.
And you're keeping a good height above the bridge 7,800. And
Yep. So at this point, coming up towards Lake Constance and Blue Lake, which I was quite happy to get near there. That's always been a dream of mine, pretty much since I started out, to be able to fly over there. So
yeah, well, you're flying in some of the more scenic country in New Zealand, the Nelson Lakes National Park.
Absolutely.
It's marvellous.
Yeah.
And you're now crossing the wall, the daunting wall, into the head of the east.
That it is quite a daunting,
there.
Quite a daunting structure. So down to the south end of the Ella Range here, I run into a bit of a dead end. I could see south towards the Spencer Range and Lewis Pass was magnificent clouds, but at this point I'm thinking about the fact that it's a club glider, so I need to return it to let people to fly. And I lost a bit of altitude here and got onto the western side of the Ella Range, which wasn't working at all really. I could see the clouds on top. The line of clouds on top indicated it was working on the easterly side, if anything. So I tried out in the valley to see if I would get away from a bit of the sink, which worked to some degree, but I wasn't losing a lot of altitude, and I was quite happy that I was familiar with the landouts.
Yeah, I think that's a key decision you made correctly there, was to stay within range of the landouts rather than risk the eastern side of the low and the D'Urville.
Yeah.
The D'Urville's a valley you've got to be very aware of. There's nothing to land in the D'Urville.
Yes, and then so I thought once I was on the north-facing face of the mole tops here, just this little knob here, I get quite a nice climb, and sure enough, just on the lower part of the ridge,
Oh yeah,
got back up to 7,300 or so, which
it's a comfortable height to be in this location.
certainly, yeah.
You got a final glide to Lake Station.
Yeah, so climbing up again.
Is that Mount Hutton or near enough?
I think it's quite close to Mount Hutton, yeah. So at this point, paralleling Lake Rotorua, I'm thinking I don't want to get too far from the airfield in case I do get called back. I thought at this point I'd try go for Mount Murchison, just visible to 11 o'clock there.
Right.
See if I could get across there. But tracking across, I think just as I cross the Braeburn Valley here, I get called back. So I think I just about had final glide at this point. In fact, I did have final glide. So turned back towards Lake Station. I think I top up with a couple of turns here just on this range, and then final glide back to Lake Station.
Yeah, oh, well, you'd be congratulated. You've been in the club 3 years, and you've attended Youthglide camps, and you've been a pretty regular attendee over the years at our club, and you've achieved this skill level to fly confidently cross country in not a particularly good performing club glider. And
it flies all right, but yeah, certainly the biggest confidence booster being able to fly cross country has been the fact that I know I can land in a field now.
Right.
That's
right.
not so much having confidence to lift ahead, but knowing that I can land in a field if I have to. That's been the
because
big
you've landed in a
confidence
number
booster.
of fields. You've practiced it.
One practice and one for real. So
right. Oh, thanks, Felix. Thanks for your time. Great.
Absolutely. Thanks very much.
Congratulations.